Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about how to keep employees. And I'm currently streaming on 9 different platforms at the same time as I am streaming here on Clubhouse at mancavepodcasting.com. And I just want to take a moment here to share with people. This is going to be a fun experience. This is my first time getting all of the equipment set up correctly, getting it all live. And I just want to start with one of the fun pieces of branding that I have to kick it into gear. And Dr. Carmen, you get to hear this. Hopefully it's not too loud, but here we go. Welcome, everybody, and thank you. One of these soon here, I will get the hang of all of the little gadgets and widgets and get it all straightened away. And I want to start off by sharing a little bit about what I've been noticing lately about some of the ways to keep employees inside of the coaching platform that I've been doing with several of my key clients. And we're seeing a lot today of issues that are happening with the fact that there's a shortage of employees. Employees are coming in. They tend to be a little jaded. They're not working as hard as they used to. They want more money, want to work less. And their accountability, their integrity is at an all-time low around the world, I think. Mostly, I'm starting to see it here in the US because that's where I primarily work, but I'm continuing to hear that it's very difficult all around the world based on what's happened with the pandemic. And I think there's 2 things that are responsible for this. One, in many cases, people have started to see there's more to life than work. So that's a shift in, I think, also in a mainstream culture where we're starting to see people coming back into their families, coming back into spending time with their family, looking at what's possible in building the relationships with neighbors, with extended family members. As during the pandemic, they were the only people that they could be with was immediate family. And when it came to employees, most of a lot of small businesses around here anyway, and I'm going to speak from Minnesota, which is in the middle of the United States, a lot of the small businesses were shut down. They kept the big stores open and all the little stores shut down. And yes, the government did its best to support them, but that wasn't enough for many of these businesses. And they closed. And there were a lot of businesses that transitioned. A lot of people retired. And I think it set a precedence around this country for a new reliance on government and governments giving money to private entities, especially in the restaurant business, because that was the first in the entertainment business, which was really hit hard. And I'd liken to think that there's a way for us to get through this. And even before the pandemic, one of the things that I started working with and being responsible for in my clients was how to maintain employees, how to build a level of connectivity to employees in a team aspect, that in a cohesive unit that had them go, I really like this company. I want to work here. I want to stay here. For many, many years, my parents' age, they would stay at companies for 20, 30 years. They'd retire there. And then there came this movement where every 3 or 4 years, people would skip and hop over to make more money. And so people were doing a lot of, not job hopping in a negative way, but improving themselves by moving from one company to the next. What ended up happening with things like pensions started to get lost. Things that were big pluses for employees staying with some of these big companies, 401ks, pensions, all of this started not being as important due to the fact that people could take their increased income and start their own portfolios, get into their own investments. And pensions just, there's very few. I know my wife has a pension with the U.S. Post Office. A lot of government employees have pensions. So therefore, government is a place where a lot of people want to go to because they know, hey, I'm going to get a pension if I'm an employee for this amount of years. And when we come back to some of these companies now, especially with pay has gone up and up and up and up and up. When places like Target and McDonald's are paying $15 to $17 an hour. And before the pandemic, it was 9, 10, 11. So you can see there's been a huge shift. And you'll start to see also that around the Twin Cities, there are a lot of buildings that used to be full of people and had cleaners in there and crews in there every night cleaning and getting them prepared for the next day. Some of those buildings have nothing. I mean, they're just, you could whistle in the hallway and nobody hears it. All those cleaning crews, all those hardworking individuals have moved on, have vanished. So then the question then becomes, how are we going to, well, first of all, where are they all going to? And I've started to see them pop up in a lot of the restaurants, fast food restaurants. Go through a drive-through and they can't find people, and these people are being hired. And oftentimes they're not great at English. And yet they're there and they're working hard. Now look at the small businesses that are in that stage where they have 5, 10, 15, 20 employees. They're paying a few dollars above minimum wage for a higher quality employee. And they're struggling. They're struggling to find employees that will stick around. So the question then becomes, what can we do? What can we do to support that employee in leveling themselves up, creating an environment that has them want to come and work for you, that has them want to stick around, that has them see the benefits for working for your company? So let's take a look at society. It's a very materialistic society. It's money motivated. And although they may not be in sales, and it could be an administrative or anything like that, I think there's a possibility, and I've started to see this happening, where there are what I call micro bonuses, that every month, if they complete a full month of being at work, because today that seems to be an issue, is that people no show for work and they call in. An attendance performance then becomes a bonus opportunity. If they work hard, get ahead, then there's an attendance bonus and performance bonus and an opportunity to grow within the company. The next key ingredient is training and development. Now, what is that going to look like? That training development is going to look like are the positions for which they could be trained in management, team lead, to set them up with a better footing. And that when they're hired, that is one of the perks of coming to work for this company, is that you are able to train them up. You are able to say, look, you come and work for us. Here's 2 or 3 things that we're committed to. We're committed that you make bonuses along with your job performance, even though it isn't a sales position. That's one of the things that we're going to incorporate into hours and profitability for the month. We're also going to provide extensive training opportunities. We have a business coach on hand, and that business coach is going to come in and teach about communication, teach about relationships, teach about accountability, teach about grace, teach about being in another person's world. A lot of different tools and techniques to support in the workplace, at home, with a significant other. Why? Because those things are extremely important. And I think provide a space and an opportunity for that excitement about being part of a company that is interested in developing you as a human being, interested in supporting you in a way that benefits your home life, that benefits your faith life, that benefits your business life. And that's a key principle, I believe, in this next quote unquote evolutionary step in the business place, in the business world. So I'd love it if you are listening in and you could take a moment to type a question, type a suggestion. If you're watching in on Facebook, just type it in the chat. It'll pop up over here. If you are somebody listening online with Clubhouse, please reach out. I'd love to share with you and offer you some tried and true methods based on creating an opportunity for an employee to step into. As big people, they definitely can experience the support not only from owners, but from team members and managers that are also doing their own leveling up. And also, a couple of the things that I've noticed is doing motivational seminars, not just tied into strict business, but into leveling the person up as a human being. Perhaps even doing a Dave Ramsey financial seminar, so that people are experiencing better ways to look after their money. Think about this. A happy person at home brings a happy employee into work in the morning. Sometimes that's hard to do. Sometimes I go to gas stations, I go to small businesses, and I'm just like, oh, all you have to do is say hi and smile and thank you and goodbye and smile. And tenure also wants to be rewarded. So not only these little micro bonuses, but a 1 year, a 3 year, 5 year. See, if you can create that, that's a buzz. Why? Because now if you think about it, you've got a company that somebody says, this is better than, and outside the norm of companies. They care about you. They care about your family life. They care about your growth and development. And they're happy to see you expand to the point that you do move on. And the key in this whole piece is not having a scarcity mindset. So many people run businesses with a scarcity mindset. So of course they're going to have difficult finding people. And then when they sit down to interview them, you don't think that's going to play a part in the interview process? Oh, come on now. So with that being said, what is a strategy you could do? So let's take it and boil it down for a little bit here. I'm going to write some notes. So if somebody wants to get my notes, they can reach out to me and say, hey, I know you were writing notes the other day on this class on the 21st. Can I get a copy of them so that I can follow up and, maybe ask some questions about them? And, I want you to know that I believe all of this information that I'm sharing, first of all, is not unique. I'm sure there's, 20, 30 guys out there around the United States that are promoting this type of stuff. That being said, my goal is to see, as we do this, how do we grow certain pieces within this to make it all flourish? See, can we get virtual assistants to do the marketing and do some of the calling and call outs and that first initial? Or are we going to lose some people because it's not the owner's voice? Well, this is always the key. And I don't want to have you left with the thought that I'm not interested in supporting a content creator to make these things the best possible. Content creator to create the manuals, to create the processes, to create, even if we were to do something crazy like have a podcast at the company where they interview employees and the employees give testimonials about what it's like to work here. So with that, first ingredient, one, and as you're looking, find a great staffing company. Express Employment, if you're located near one, is phenomenal. I've been working with the Forest Lake Express Employment now for almost a little over 6 years. And I can promise you that they take into consideration saving you time. They want to find the best fit. Why? Because then they make money and they don't have to redo it over again. And the clock starts ticking, and then you get to buy out that employee at the end of it. I think, so I'm just jotting this down here. When you start to do these trainings, even if people are on vacation or sick or something comes up, make sure they watch the Zoom. Watch it. Learn. How to keep and attract employees. Once again, great work environment, positive approach by all the people. Greet them when they come through the door, the new employees. Don't look down on them. Don't look like, oh my, they're taking my desk. No. We're all a village. The more we can contribute to this whole boat, this boat is going to rise. All right. So I just want to look up and check. I see there's a few of you that are listening in. I'm curious to know if anybody's got any questions. Hey, Michael, I'm reaching out to somebody on Clubhouse here. Come on up. We're talking about how to keep employees. What are some of the techniques or things that you would like to see?
How's it going, Les?
Phenomenal. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm actually at work right now.
Uh-oh.
Finishing up the day.
Is it okay to be chatting?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are live on 9 platforms.
Oh, fantastic. Glad to hear it, Les.
Yep. And the audio is being streamed into those platforms. And
wow.
So what we're talking about today is how to keep employees. And I've been sharing that one of the things I think since the pandemic has been bringing people in and paying them bonuses on a monthly basis when they deliver on the results that you have set for them that they agree to by the end of a month.
Well, I could definitely agree with that. I've definitely worked in a few places where, you see quotas get met, you beat them or surpass them, and then all of a sudden that becomes the new standard. You're still getting paid the same, so you're working twice as hard. Still getting paid the same when you could have been working half as hard. And, they probably would have noticed the difference. I think, and I like places that do bonuses, but I agree. A monthly bonus, something where it's a little more in your face, would be better than a yearly bonus where, you're kind of in limbo for majority of the time.
Yeah, and it takes so long with a yearly bonus, right? I think sometimes people forget about them. And it's, and unless you bring it into the conversation, they're not actively looking at it. Whereas if you have that monthly bonus, we're talking about having a meeting. Here's where we're at mid-month. This is what we'd like to talk about. This is where we'd like to see some growths. And if everybody puts their 2 cents in, here's where we're going to be at the end of the month. And if we hit this goal, here's going to be some money back to you in the form of a bonus. And we're also going to be offering some training classes next month in this area, and this area.
Mm-hmm. I could definitely see the attraction there for employees, especially, especially if companies are, trying to get go-getters or people who are going to, step up and above their stations, then, it's those sorts of small incentives that are going to be able to give you things that you want to see.
Yeah, the other thing that I was thinking about as well, hi Vimal, hello Ahmed, was also looking at what if we, in creating these bonuses and these ideas on how to keep employees, what if we also put together a training regimen where people were really worked with by the companies, like they were worked with on communication, they were worked with on integrity, they were worked with on health journey, so that literally there was private, and take this a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but private coaching made available for employees in the group environments. That to me says that a company is really invested in you, right? They're making this stuff available. And you know, I've worked with a few law firms, and they do the DISC assessment. They offer them CLEs, you know, continuing legal education units, and they bring in somebody to do the training. And then the attorneys don't have to go anywhere. I mean, there's so many benefits to it, and some of the employees. So I think that kind of stuff today is so super important. I think it's more important than it has ever been. I think the opportunity is to foster that environment, makes hiring easier, because people, you know, will put a testimonial out there and you can find it and you can share it. You can let people know. You know, I know people find me a little tad goofy, and they know I'm out to make a difference in this arena. And to me, I think this is the wave of the future. So anything else for you to add, Michael? Otherwise, I'll head over to Vimal.
Big thing, and at least from where I work, don't make working anywhere miserable. You know, I think that's, you know, it seems simple, but we'll overlook a lot of places that I've been at, warehouses and, you know, small family businesses. It's like you get there and it's just, you know, it's not a good environment. You don't like it. You're just doing it for a paycheck. And then they just breed more of a mentality of, hey, you know, I'm just here to get a paycheck. So, you know, I've never seen a good place to work where people are just purposely sitting around on the clock. It's always places where people don't like the work, and they don't like the bosses. They don't like the people running it. They don't like the standards. And those places I see, you know, employees not taking the initiative. I've never seen that at a place where, you know, you're getting a decent wage for a decent person. So just make it decent, you know. Make it enjoyable. We spend, you know, I spend the majority of my week at my job. And if I didn't like it, then I would try to waste as much of that time as possible, so I could at least, you know, be getting out of there with a decent paycheck to make up for it. That's great. All I have on it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing. And with that, Vimal, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, hi, I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing phenomenal. Thank you for asking. We're just looking into the question of how to keep employees. What are some of the things we can do? And we've talked about a couple things. One, you know, providing extra bonuses on a monthly incentive to create the workability of that.
I think, sorry, your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat it so that I'll just get to know better?
Okay. So we're looking to have a way to keep employees longer so that they enjoy work, they enjoy being there, and because of that, they stick around. So you don't have to spend so much time doing training and development.
Correct.
And one of the things that we've been talking about is make the environment a little bit more friendly, put their pay into a bonus structure so that at the end of a month they make a bonus if they hit their numbers, because we all have numbers, we all have quotas.
Correct.
Yep. Go ahead, Vimal.
Yeah. So, like when employees comes to workplace, the workplace shouldn't be like it should be eco-friendly, as well as the salary should be. We should validate their experiences, talent as well. Based on that only we should hire. And after the hiring, we will do a training process. Once they are familiar with the process, then he can able to help the other teams as well, to coordinate with other teams also. Like the efficiency will be very high, and in order to get more productivity out of it, like we will be issuing like a bonus, or like 1-2 days leave or something. Like if they do a good job, then they are set to free whenever they wanted to take a leave. If we give them a lever, it will be they will have some trust on company, and they won't have any intention to leave even if there is any issues come back. And risk management, obviously we need to teach them in order to take risk, for sure, like taking ownership and stand up. Like it's like a stand up, disagree, and commit, and taking ownership. So likewise, we need to train them in order to increase the company's protection as well. So this is my point, actually.
I love that. Thank you so much, Vimal. I appreciate that point.
Hello.
Oops. Sorry about that. I was speaking. Here I am speaking to a muted mic.
Oh, you're talking on mute. Okay.
I really enjoy that. I like that. I love that idea, especially the risk, with the risk management. I think that's something to me where I think more and more companies, especially smaller companies, this is going to be the way for them to be able to court big players that make a little bit more money and pay them on their performance. And I think paying on performance today is the way to go, because then if people take a break, they take a break. Right now.
So every company teaches the training part. So obviously, in the interview itself, they will get to know like in which part he is capable of. So training is like I believe the training is given perfectly, and it is common everywhere. But they give only the basics of it, and they don't teach the risk management, analytical thinking, and etc. Why? Because like they need to teach only the risk management. For example, if they are doing any project or something, we can't guarantee that it will go entirely fine. There will be some risk, there will be some problem involved in that. So we need to train how to handle those problems. So if we if we train them before itself to handle the risk and all, so they'll get used to it, and they'll start thinking in the other way for resolution. So once the problem arises, they won't get scared of company or something like that. They will have the tendency to fight with it and find out a solution for it. Even in case, let it be, even if they don't find a problem also, that's fine. But the intention should be like we can face anything, so that the entire work is getting done on time. So I think this is what the company should teach going forward, instead of giving a basic training. That also comes at the main place. But in addition to that, like they need to focus on risk management, analytical thinking, and taking ownership. They need to teach that as well.
Beautiful, great points. And the thing that I want to preface the most out of what you just said, that I don't know if I even covered in this first half. So let me come back to that. I want to do a quick pull to refresh. So I know there's not a ton of people in the room here. I just want to get in the habit of saying that. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. This is mancavepodcasting.com, and this is the Less is More Coaching Podcast. And we are out to create a few, what I would call miracles, by having people be so vested in the company that it occurs to people from the outside, look, they must all be family or all have ownership in this restaurant. So with that, I'd love to invite Sean to come on up and share with us if he could. Otherwise, Michael, anything else for you?
I have a doubt.
Yes, go ahead.
So, like, I'm focusing on business, but currently I'm working in India.
Yep.
I'm basically part of like southern part of India. I'm from southern part of India, and I'm like looking for like the company who has a sponsorship license. So, is there any way where you can give insights for that? Because I've been trying a lot, but I end up with nothing. So I just want to know how to reach those. Like, if you know, you can tell me. It's not an issue, coach.
So can you ask the question one more time a little bit differently? So what is your request?
So I work from India.
Okay.
So I've been trying to work abroad for the last 5 years, but I couldn't get through. Why? Because like I don't know how to reach the company who has a sponsorship license. Else, even though if I'm getting selected, I'm not eligible. I mean, that particular company is not eligible for a sponsor visa. So I ended up with nothing. So I just want to know. I want to find jobs over there who offers license. I mean, sponsorship license. Who can sponsor me for that?
Yeah. I think one of the places that you might want to look for that would be Indeed. Is a website, indeed.com.
Okay.
You could look at maybe the Small Business Association. If you're looking to be an entrepreneur when you get here, you could look at there's an organization out there called the Job Creators Network. And I think that would be another perfect place to take a peek. That's online. And then there's many meetup groups that I think would benefit what you're looking for, Vimad. And Sean, excuse me.
You know from which country you are? Hello?
Say that again. I'm sorry, I missed that.
May I know from which country you are?
I'm in Minnesota, United States.
Oh, that's great.
So we have several organizations to support people that are looking for work, whether it's as an entrepreneur or whether it's looking for coming on board. I know the Chamber of Commerce's, a lot of them help connect people that are looking to get into corporate America, and they'll put the two together. We don't charge any, there aren't any fees. It's paid for by the government.
Do you know anyone like who can find a work for me? Sorry to ask this in public, but sorry to ask this a direct question, but I just want to know.
Ask that question again. I didn't quite understand it.
Yeah. Is it possible for you to guide me for work? Sorry to ask this as a direct question in this public clubhouse, but I just want to understand that.
So have me direct you to companies to go look for work?
Yeah.
Well, that I don't do that as a job. There are recruiters here, though, that would be happy to take your resume and look for jobs for you.
I didn't get you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me see. I will back channel you a few. Hold on one second, Vimal. I just want to get. And if you want to back channel me and just ask that same question, but I will take a look and send you a couple suggestions.
Sure.
Okay, got it. Awesome. Michael, any other question for you, sir? Okay. Hey, Maury, how are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going, Les?
Absolutely better than phenomenal. Just getting ready to kind of wrap up here in the next 5-10 minutes. We just did a conversation on how to keep employees.
I wouldn't have a clue. I don't have any employees.
Well, so one of the things we were talking about is coming up with monthly bonuses to keep people incentivized to stick around.
Yeah, also, I would think a good idea would be in the olden days when people got jobs, they usually stuck with them forever. And they were made to feel like they were part of the family, you know, whereas now everybody's an interchangeable piece, I think.
Yes.
So having a business plan that lets your employees feel like they are an important part of the machine probably would help you to keep your employees happier and longer and more productive. That would be my guess anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we mentioned that as well, is coming up with some way so that people have ownership in it, right? Maybe not necessarily ownership at the point of doing anything like 50-50 or anything, but giving people a piece of the pie at the end of giving people a piece of the pie at the end of the year or the end of the month, because it's a shorter time frame.
Sure. Oh yeah, definitely. It shows your gratitude and appreciation for them.
Yep. And I think
if they're making you $100, why shouldn't you give them 15, 20?
And I agree 100%. Because I think then what you'll see is people will want to stick around because they're feeling like they're a vested part in the company.
Exactly. I agree completely.
Awesome. Any other tips that you might have to support people looking for ways to keep employees? The other one we came up with was training, setting up training programs to level them up as a human being, period, even if it's not just for work.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Keeping people at the top. I have a friend of mine, he's like in his mid-60s, and he is constantly, getting jobs over people in their 20s and 30s because he's always researching, he's always studying, he's always working to make himself at the top of his field. And that's really all a matter of education. And if you help to educate your employees so that they're smarter and better and stronger, then, you'll lose a couple of them because they'll take advantage of the education and move on to somewhere else. But the others will stick around and love you for it because you're keeping them, I remember when I did work for other people, this is many moons ago, but I was afraid of the hatchet dropping on my head every minute I was at every job I ever had. And if you have an employer who's constantly trying to help you to be better, like you said, a better person, a better employee, a better computer programmer, a better graphic artist, whatever it is they're doing, then, that obviously is going to help you. It's going to help them. You're giving them value. You're showing them that, hey, look, I want to give you value, not just money, but value for what you're doing. I want to make you feel secure in what you're doing. And I wouldn't be spending all this money on, furthering your education if I didn't want to keep you around. So
Amen.
That kind of a feeling is invaluable as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. I love that. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope this has been of some value. I've been, I look to see that over the next, tomorrow I'll be here again at 3:00 Central Standard Time for a 30 to 45 minute show. And we're going to take on looking at, do we sometimes hold on to employees too long for the simple fact that cleaning house is sometimes it's kind of like going into the woods and cutting dead wood out of the trees. Sometimes that pruning makes for a thicker, better.
You know what, Les, if I can interject here.
Of course.
An interesting thing you just brought up is that doesn't just count for employees. That counts for team members of your company as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Because sometimes, you're not getting anywhere, not because your business isn't a great idea or isn't great, but it's because the people who are in your team have gotten stagnant. They got a little too comfortable. Yeah. And it's time to add people. And sometimes, subtract people too. As your business grows, as your career grows, your needs change. And if the people you're associating with on any spectrum, whether you're the employee, whether you're the employer, whether you're a team member of another business, it's more important, I think, that you understand that it's all about success. A sports team is a good example of that. Nobody roots for individual athletes until they're wearing your colors and your logo, right? Like on a hockey team or a baseball team or a football team or soccer team, whatever.
Yeah, unless they're in fantasy football.
For the team, not for the person.
Yeah, I said.
So,
yeah.
Make trades. Sometimes you need to make a trade too and get a new forward or defense goalie or batter or pitcher or whatever. Anyway, you're bringing up a topic for next time, and I'm getting into it. Sorry.
No, I love it. I just wanted to touch base, and we'll be back tomorrow afternoon, and hopefully, if you have the space and time, you can pop back in. That would be wonderful.
I will do my best. What time is it again?
So it's 50 minutes ago. So 3:00 3:00 Central, 4 Eastern.
Beautiful. Okay, I'll schedule it, and hopefully, I'll be available for it.
Awesome. Maury, I appreciate you. And Michael, thank you so much. And Sean, thanks for sitting in the audience. And we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. And just for the fun of it, Maury, you can hear my my cool outro and see what you think of it. I know you can't. Sure. I know you can't see it, but you'll be able to hear it.
Coaching with Les has doubled my practice.
If you have any struggles in your business or your personal life, Les is your guy.
He's logical, he's empathetic, he has passion for helping people, and his ideas are genuinely thoughtful.
So if you're looking for a business coach with integrity, choose Les Hill.